The Forgotten Crisis, a President's Secret War. History often remembers the great wars fought on the battlefield, but some of the most significant conflicts in American history have been waged in silence, behind closed doors, in the halls of power, and at the negotiating table. This is the story of one such crisis, a conflict not fought with weapons, but with diplomacy, secrecy, and the fate of the nation hanging in the balance. This is the story of President James Madison, the fourth President of the United States, and the War of 1812, a conflict that many Americans view as one of national shame, but one that was, in fact, a defining moment for Madison's leadership. The War of 1812 is often overshadowed by other more famous conflicts in American history, but it was a war that almost tore the young nation apart and forever changed Madison's presidency. Madison took office in 1809, inheriting a nation caught in the middle of global tensions. The United States was still a young country, struggling to establish its identity and its place on the world stage. The looming conflict with Great Britain, driven by trade restrictions and impressment of American sailors, was something Madison couldn't avoid. The nation was divided. Some believed that war was necessary to assert American sovereignty, while others saw the conflict as a senseless war that could lead to destruction. Madison, reluctant yet determined, declared war on Britain in 1812, marking the beginning of a conflict that would test his leadership and the survival of the United States. The war, often called Mr. Madison's War, was a contentious conflict that played out with mixed results. It began with a string of defeats for the American forces, and the capital itself, Washington, D.C., was burned by British forces in 1814. The outcome of the War of 1812 was uncertain, but what most people didn't know was that Madison, through his quiet diplomacy, was already making moves that would secure the nation's future. Madison's Secret War was not one of public speeches or battlefield victories. It was a battle fought through negotiations, intelligence, and strategy. Behind the scenes, Madison was forging alliances, sending emissaries to Europe, and trying to navigate the intricate web of international politics. He knew that the success of his presidency depended not just on winning battles, but on restoring America's standing in the world and securing peace. The peace that Madison sought finally came with the Treaty of Ghent in 1814, ending the war with no territorial changes and little to show for the nation's efforts. But Madison's role in the negotiation process, where he avoided a larger war with Britain and reasserted America's independence, was a triumph of diplomacy. His leadership in this time of crisis, though often uncelebrated, demonstrated the power of a president willing to lead through quiet persistence, even when faced with the impossible task of holding the young nation together. While the Treaty of Ghent brought an official end to the War of 1812, the aftermath of the conflict left deep scars on the young nation. Madison's Secret War did not simply end with the signing of a peace treaty. In fact, the real test of his leadership came after the war was over, as he faced the aftermath of the burning of Washington and the economic turmoil that followed. Despite the peace, the nation's future was still at risk, and Madison's quiet determination to rebuild and strengthen the country would determine his lasting legacy. In the wake of the war, Madison turned his attention to the rebuilding of the national economy. The conflict had devastated American trade, and the economy was in disarray. The country's dependence on foreign goods, particularly from Britain, had shown the vulnerabilities of the American economy. Madison knew that if the United States was to survive as an independent power, it needed to strengthen its own economic base. Madison's response was the establishment of the National Bank, a key policy that would allow the U.S. to regulate currency, stabilize the economy, and foster economic growth. His vision was to create a unified, stable financial system that could support the country's expansion. But this decision was met with fierce opposition, particularly from those who believed in states' rights and a limited federal government. Despite the opposition, Madison's push for a national bank set the stage for the development of the U.S. economy in the 19th century. But Madison's Secret War was not just about rebuilding the economy. It was about creating a sense of unity and national identity in the aftermath of a traumatic conflict. He worked to strengthen American institutions, fostering a sense of national pride, and promoting the idea that the United States was capable of standing on its own without relying on foreign powers. The country's post-war identity would no longer be defined by its struggles, but by its resilience and determination to move forward. Madison also took steps to strengthen American defenses, knowing that the threat of British aggression was still present. He oversaw the building of the nation's military infrastructure, ensuring that the United States would be better prepared in the future. Though the War of 1812 had ended without a clear victor, Madison's leadership in strengthening the country's defenses was a pivotal moment in American history. What many people didn't realize at the time was that Madison's work during and after the war would lay the groundwork for the era of American expansion that followed. His vision of a stronger, more unified nation would come to fruition in the decades after his presidency, as the U.S. expanded westward and solidified its place as a global power. But his legacy was not one of public fanfare or grand speeches. It was a quiet, persistent effort to secure the country's future and to ensure that the sacrifices of the war were not in vain. Madison's presidency stands as a testament to the often overlooked power of quiet leadership in times of national crisis. His work behind the scenes, the decisions he made without the spotlight, ensured the survival of the American experiment. Even though the War of 1812 is remembered more for its failures than its victories, Madison's role in securing peace and rebuilding the nation after the conflict shaped the United States into the formidable power it would become. Despite Madison's achievements in stabilizing the nation, his presidency is often remembered with ambivalence. While the Treaty of Ghent marked the formal end of the War of 1812, it did little to change the fundamental issues that had ignited the conflict in the first place. The war had been fought primarily over trade restrictions and the impressment of American sailors, but those issues remained unresolved after peace was declared. Yet, Madison's strength as a leader lay not in resolving every issue immediately, but in his ability to guide the nation through its most trying times, ensuring that the United States would survive to face new challenges. As Madison's second term came to a close, his leadership would be overshadowed by the emergence of new political forces and figures. His policies had laid the groundwork for a more secure and unified nation, but the very divisions that had sparked the War of 1812, those between the North and South, between the Federalists and the Republicans, were far from gone. The groundwork for future conflicts, especially the question of slavery and states' rights, was already being laid. In the post-war years, Madison's influence was increasingly diminished as newer, more radical voices began to rise in American politics. The era of Madison's leadership was coming to an end, giving way to a new generation of politicians who would have to confront the unresolved issues that he had struggled with. But his influence endured in ways that many did not immediately recognize. The diplomatic strategies, the calls for national unity, and the efforts to build a strong national economy all shaped the course of American history, even as the nation moved forward into a new era. Madison's legacy, while overshadowed by the more famous figures of American history, is one of quiet perseverance in the face of adversity. He led the nation to the War of 1812, preserving the United States' sovereignty and independence at a time when its survival was anything but certain. But the true significance of his leadership lies in what he did after the war, how he navigated the complex political realities of his time to ensure that the United States remained united and strong. His presidency was marked by a series of decisions made not for immediate gain, but for long-term stability. From strengthening the nation's economy to addressing the lasting threat of foreign intervention, Madison's leadership proved that sometimes the most important contributions are the ones that do not make the headlines. It is this quiet determination, this careful diplomacy and political strategy that truly defined his presidency. Though Madison may not have had the commanding presence or the dramatic impact of other presidents, his ability to lead through one of the nation's most challenging periods laid the foundation for the future growth and success of the United States. His work may have been done quietly and without fanfare, but it was ultimately the kind of leadership that preserved the Republic and ensured that America would endure through the trials ahead. As we reflect on James Madison's presidency, it's clear that his role in shaping the United States was more profound than often recognized. His ability to handle the War of 1812, his commitment to national unity, and his actions behind the scenes made him a pivotal figure in the early years of the American Republic. While his presidency may not have been marked by dramatic victories, it was a steadfast leadership during one of the nation's most uncertain times that ensured its survival. In the end, Madison's legacy is defined not by the immediate result of his actions, but by the lasting impact of his decisions. His efforts to preserve the Union during the War of 1812, His push for a stronger, more unified nation and his drive to protect American sovereignty set the stage for future presidents to build upon. His presidency proved that the true measure of leadership is not in grand triumphs, but in quiet determination during the most challenging of times. The nation that emerged from Madison's leadership was far stronger, more cohesive, and better positioned to face the challenges ahead. His contributions to the foundation of the American system, from his work on the Constitution to his foreign policy strategies, would resonate throughout history. While his tenure as president may be considered understated, it was undeniably one of the key moments in the development of the United States as a global power. As history moves forward, Madison's story remains a testament to the power of quiet leadership in times of crisis. His willingness to act, even when the outcome was uncertain, and his ability to navigate complex political landscapes left an indelible mark on the American Republic. Though overshadowed by other more famous presidents, Madison's story shows that sometimes the most lasting changes come not from the loudest voices, but from the steadfast actions of those who work behind the scenes. So, looking back on Madison's presidency, what can we learn from his leadership? How do we, in today's world, apply the lessons from his quiet determination and his pursuit of national unity in the face of division? The challenges Madison faced may have been different from the ones we face today, but his ability to lead through uncertainty and to push for lasting change is a lesson that still resonates in our politics and leadership today.